bones become weaker, your immune system becomes sluggish. But that's not all. Your sex drive suffers. You become anxious, depressed. You become more likely to fall, suffer hip fracture, and less likely to recover from one. I'm sure you can see why proteins are so important, and why not having enough can be bad for your health. So where do all these important proteins come from? Most people think they come from the diet, but that's not really accurate. The truth is that proteins are made by your body. But your diet's important because it supplies amino acids. And amino acids are the building blocks that your body uses to create these proteins. Here's how it works. Let's say you're eating a protein source like meat or fish. This meat or fish goes into your stomach and begins to get digested. Your digestive system then breaks down the protein into amino acids. Those amino acids then go through your small intestine into your bloodstream, and from there they're distributed throughout your body. The body then takes these amino acids and uses them to make the proteins it needs. Some of the amino acids are made into muscle, some of them are made into organ cells, some of them are made into hormones, and so on. However, not all the amino acids get turned into proteins. Some of them get turned into glucose and are burned for energy. This is a remnant of our caveman days. When we were cavemen, food was scarce, so we needed to be able to get energy regardless of what food we ate. Berries, no problem. They contain carbs that are burned for energy. Nuts, they contain fats that are burned for energy. Freshly killed squirrel, some of the proteins in the meat that is turned into lean body mass, and the rest of it's turned into glucose for energy. So how can you tell if your body is using the protein for muscle, or if it's turning it into excess glucose? Scientists have asked this question. You see, amino acids contain nitrogen, and when amino acids are turned into proteins, the nitrogen remains in your body as part of the protein. But when the amino acids are converted into glucose or sugar, the nitrogen is released and it goes out in your urine. So if you want to know if your food is being turned into protein or sugar, all you have to do is measure the amount of nitrogen in your urine. Now this measurement is called amino acid utilization, or AAU, and here's how it works. If a dietary protein has an AAU of 100%, that means that there is no nitrogen in your urine and that the body is using 100% of the amino acids in that food to build body protein. That's what we want. On the other hand, if a protein source has an AAU of 10%, that means your body is only using 10% of the amino acids to make the body protein, and it's turning 90% of those amino acids into sugar. That's not good. So what's the best source of dietary protein with the highest AAU? Scientists found that it's breast milk with an AAU of 49%. Now that makes complete sense because babies need an efficient source of dietary protein. But we're not babies, so what's the next best source? Next best source of protein is whole eggs. Whole eggs have an AAU of 47%, but it's got to be the whole egg. If you eat egg whites like many so-called experts tell you to do, you're only going to get an AAU of 17%. That's because the egg yolks contain methionine. Take out the yolk and you seriously limit the egg's protein building value. After whole eggs come meat, poultry, and fish. They're all kind of equal with an AAU of 32%, but it really goes downhill from there. You know, all those expensive protein powders, they're supposed to be so great at building muscle, but if they're your go-to source of protein, you're going to be a little disappointed, and that's because the protein powders have an AAU on average of just 17%. This includes the protein powders made from soy, dairy, and even eggs. An AAU of 17% means that 83% of that protein is being turned into sugar. And finally, how about spirulina, a popular protein supplement made from algae? Depending on the brand, spirulina has an amazing AAU from only 0 to 8%. It's practically useless. So let's go back to the original formula. Why do people lose so much lean body mass as they get older? There are three main reasons. The first is that they're not eating enough protein. The second, that they are eating the wrong sources of protein. And the third, that they are not digesting your protein. You see, it's not enough to eat the right proteins. You also have to digest them and break them down into their individual amino acids. Unfortunately, the older we get, the weaker our digestive systems tend to be. So we make less stomach acid and digestive enzymes, and this can cause a downward spiral. Remember earlier when I mentioned that enzymes are actually proteins? Well, if you're protein deficient, it stands to reason you'd not be able to make enough digestive enzymes. That means that you would not digest your food properly. This would make you even more protein deficient, which would lead to even lower enzyme production and so forth. But what if you didn't have to rely on your digestive system to build protein? What if you could skip that part of the process entirely and just take the pure amino acids? The amino acids in that case would go directly into your bloodstream. They would be used to build muscle, bone, connective tissue, hormones, enzymes, and more. Well, that is exactly what my friend David Minkoff did. He took amino acids orally, but he didn't just go to the health food store and buy an off-the-shelf amino acid product. Why? Because he found that you can't just take amino acids willy-nilly. You have to take the right amino acids in the right combinations. So let me explain to you how this works. You already know that proteins are made up of amino acids. Some of these amino acids are made up by your body all on its own, but there are 8 amino acids you have to get from your diet. These 8 are called the essential amino acids. You'd think that if you take all 8 essential amino acids, your body would turn them all into protein, right? That's what I always thought, because that's what they taught me in medical school. But like many of the things I learned in school, there's more to this story. It turns out that we can't just take those 8 amino acids. We also need to get them in the right balance, because otherwise we can end up with too much of one amino acid and not enough of another. Let me illustrate this concept. And imagine that you owned a bicycle factory. And then imagine you had plenty of handlebars and seats and frames, but you only had one pair of tires. Well, it doesn't matter how many of the other parts you have. If you only have one pair of tires, you can only make one bicycle. The rest of the parts, they just go to waste. And that's the same thing that happens when you take amino acids in the wrong balance. Remember earlier when I mentioned that when you eat meat, your body only gets 32% of the protein? The reason is that the amino acids in meat are not in total balance. So the extra aminos get turned into sugar. Fortunately, Dr. Minkoff was able to solve this problem. He created a formula that contains all 8 essential amino acids in the perfect balance. How do we know it's in the perfect balance? Because when Dr. Minkoff tested the product, it had an AAU of 99%. That's right, 99%. That means that 99% of the amino acids in the product are used by your body to make proteins, and only 1% are wasted. The results were so great that he decided to name the product Perfect Amino. Makes sense. I already told you about what happened when Dr. Minkoff took these aminos himself. In just a few weeks, he healed his hamstring injury, he boosted his strength and overall health, and he put on 12 pounds of lean body mass. He was so excited by the results that he started giving it to all his patients. And guess what? They got good results too. They got even more muscle and less body fat. They got stronger nails, shinier hair. They reported an overall sense of greater well-being. But that's not all. I mentioned earlier that Dr. Minkoff is a triathlete, right? So he started giving Perfect Amino to all his triathlete friends. One of them competes in the World Championship in Hawaii every year. And as part of his preparation for that race, he gets there a few weeks early and he does a 145-mile bike ride to gauge what kind of shape he's in. Well, the first time he took the Perfect Amino, he was able to finish that bike ride a half an hour faster than he'd ever done it before. He called Dr. Minkoff in a panic, thinking that the Perfect Amino had to contain some kind of banned substance that was going to get him disqualified. And David just laughed and assured his friend that the tablets contained nothing more than pure amino acids. And by the way, his friend won the championship that year. Today, thousands of people have benefited from Perfect Aminos, and now you can too. You can get your youthful muscle mass back, you can strengthen your bones to protect yourself from fractures, you can gain an overall sense of health and vitality. Imagine how great it could feel to have a strong body for life. Imagine how great it will feel to enjoy life without the fear of being dependent on others and without the fear that you're going to fall and suffer hip fracture. Well, you can have all that and more with Perfect Amino. But you know what? Perfect Amino isn't just for boosting muscle and bone mass. It also helps you to lose weight and to keep it all. In one clinical study, 500 overweight people were put on a diet of healthy vegetables and fats, but there was a twist. Instead of the meat or fish or dairy, they were given amino acids as their only direct protein source. What was the result? They lost between 2 and 16 pounds per week while maintaining their lean body mass. By the way, Dr. Minkoff now puts all his patients on a similar diet, and he reports that they're losing weight and keeping it off, and that they're doing it without any feelings of hunger and deprivation. Get younger looking skin and hair. The people in the above weight loss study didn't just lose weight, they also reported younger looking skin and shinier and stronger hair. That's because youthful skin and hair have more collagen, and collagen is made from, you guessed it, amino acids. Improve your endurance. In one case, a 51-year-old female athlete, she hiked for 341 miles while carrying a 48-pound backpack. But it wasn't an ordinary hike. It was through the Taklamakan Desert, where the terrain is treacherous and the daily temperatures range from scorching heat to below freezing. Now, during that hike, she took the amino acid tablets as her only source of dietary protein. The doctors expected her to waste away, but instead she actually increased her lean body mass, improved her cardiorespiratory function, increased her red blood cells and hemoglobin, and lowered her resting heart rate. How about preventing injuries? A friend of Dr. Minkoff's works with professional cyclists. He found that no matter what kinds of treatments he gave them, they were constantly developing injuries after some of these long distance races. But when Minkoff gave his friend the amino acids, his friend gave it to the cyclist, and guess what? They became injury-free. You can strengthen your bones too. Collagen is very important for bone strength. In fact, bones consist almost entirely of minerals like calcium plus collagen. It's the collagen that holds these minerals together. So when you don't have enough collagen, the minerals leak out of your bones, and from there they can form kidney stones, plaques, and other things you don't want. But when do you have enough collagen? The minerals stay in your bones and keep them strong. Support better mental concentration and a better mood. Your mood and concentration are governed by brain chemicals called neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are proteins, and to make them, your body needs to have the right balance of aminos. You can boost your immunity and fight infections. Antibodies help you to fight infections, and the antibodies are, guess what? They're made of protein. So when your body has the right protein building blocks, it can make plenty of antibodies. Help alleviate food sensitivity symptoms. If you suffer from food sensitivities, you might have leaky gut. Those leaky membranes allow undigested food particles to get into your bloodstream, which causes your immune system to attack. But here's the good news. Your gut membranes are made of proteins. It's no wonder that Dr. Minkoff gets Perfect Amino to his patients with leaky gut. Yes, Perfect Amino can do all of this and more simply by giving your body the right balance of essential aminos for optimum health. And now you can try them at the lowest price. A 1 month supply of Perfect Aminos is just $39, plus shipping. That's only $1.33 a day. It's less than a cup of coffee if you want to know the truth. But if you want to save money and you want to make sure you have enough Perfect Aminos on hand all the time, I'm going to suggest you try the 3-month Perfect Amino Savings Pack. The 3-month supply is just $107 plus shipping, and you save 10% off the regular price if you do that. Or for the biggest savings plus free shipping, try the 6-month pack. If you're really serious about maintaining your strength and independence for the long run and saving the most money, you should try the 6-month Perfect Amino Best Value Pack. A 6-month supply is just $199, and with that you get free shipping. It's by far the best value because you're going to save $40 off the regular price. It's like getting a month for free. Plus you get your free shipping and handling. To get started, simply click the button below. You take absolutely no risk to try Perfect Amino because of the 90-day no questions asked guarantee. I know how effective Perfect Amino is, and I stand by this amazing formula. In fact, I guarantee Perfect Amino in 2 ways. Number 1, you're going to see an improvement in your strength and overall well-being in the first few months. It's guaranteed or your money back. 2, you will continue to see dramatic improvements. That's because Perfect 7 also works in the long term. If you don't see any improvements in the first few months, if you're not satisfied with this, for any reason whatsoever, just return the bottles. Within 90 days, you get a full refund, every penny you paid, including shipping and handling. You only pay shipping, no questions asked, no fine print. Either you're absolutely thrilled with these results, or you don't have to pay a thing. If you're still on the fence, consider this. When you try Perfect Amino, the worst thing that can happen is that you're not happy with the results you get. You can simply ask for full refund and you don't lose a thing. But what if it works for you? That means you can stop finally worrying about weakening your muscles and frail bones. You can sleep well, knowing you're reducing your risk of falls and fractures. You can enjoy youthful muscle tone, strong bones, and a boost in overall well-being. And you can enjoy life to the fullest, even as you age. As you can see, with this 90-day guarantee, you get all the upside without any of the downside. Frankly, I think ordering a 6-month supply is a no-lose proposition. Because if you're not satisfied, you can simply return the bottles and get all the money back. And if you are satisfied, you get to pay the lowest price per bottle and you get free shipping. In addition to being the best deal, a 6-month supply also gives your body enough time to really get the full effects. That's why I suggest you take advantage of this offer by clicking on the button below. But I'll leave that decision up to you. I now recommend